Hi, this is James Whitford, and on August 19th of 2015, we had a lunch and learn titled Introduction to True Charity, Tools and Concepts. And because we spent so much of our time looking at the tools that we use in our community, both Charity Tracker and JoplinResources.net, specifically around the area of best practices, I thought it was important to maybe take 5 to 7 minutes of your time and share some of these points with you if you were unable to make that lunch and learn. First of all, best practices is simply defined as the procedures that are accepted as most effective. But what we're really trying to do as a group is find that common ground where we can share data in a safe and effective way and yet not compromise our own individual mission. So I thought it important to make the statement that the endeavor to determine and exercise best practices in cohort is that search and work for common ground that will improve overall effectiveness without compromising individual mission. And so that really was the focus of much of the focus of our lunch and learn. How can we work together, sharing data safely and effectively, and doing it in a best practices way without compromising our own individual organization mission or autonomy. So let's just talk about these points of best practices for the use of Charity Tracker. First of all, it's really important that everybody plays ball. In other words, you don't want to be just extracting information from a database to help you steward your resource more effectively without also inputting information about how you've helped an individual. If nobody input information into the Charity Tracker system, there wouldn't be a Charity Tracker for us to use. And so it is a very helpful tool, but it's only helpful because we're all inputting information about how we're helping individuals that might be coming to a number of our not-for-profits for assistance. Secondly, know the lineup. You don't want to just put information into Charity Tracker about how you've helped somebody. You want to look at how others have helped that person or that family prior to you assisting them. And that's really the whole purpose of Charity Tracker. It's going to empower you with information that will help you to make sure you're really helping the person who's come to you in need. Thirdly, you want to cover the bases. Before you enter a new case in Charity Tracker, please search separately the date of birth, and then search for their name, and then search for their social security number. If you do all three of those, it's safe to say that they are not one of the 57,000 plus people that we have in the Charity Tracker network currently. But with that many people, there's a good chance that whoever you're interfacing with, they may already be in that system. Verify the change-up. So before you change information on a case, please verify it. So that would be in the Personal Information tab or in the Relationships tab. Before you make changes there, verify that those changes are true. You want something more substantial than word of mouth. Protect the play call. Confidentiality is a must when we're talking about sharing sensitive information, and a lack of our care in that regard could be a game over for us working together the way that we have been and hope to continue to do in the future. I want to just share a couple more things with you concerning data care and data share, but we'll start with data care. First of all, there's no magic apron training method for folks who are going to be working with you at your not-for-profit using Charity Tracker. In the restaurant business, we used to say, a magic apron was that apron you'd throw on a person and you'd poof, call them a waiter. But the truth is that doesn't work very well. It doesn't work well with Charity Tracker either. You don't want to just sit a volunteer or staff member down at a computer and sign them in and let them go. In fact, you might want to let them watch this video, and there's some handouts that we gave at the Lunch and Learn. If you'll contact me, I'd be glad to make sure that we get those to you. And in fact, I may even attach them as a document to a bulletin soon. No shared passwords. So, it's one password per person that's using Charity Tracker. Keep information relevant to the purpose of Charity Tracker. Try not to bunny trail on your narrative notes section where you're suddenly dealing with information that really doesn't have any bearing, for how to help that person or empower others to help that person. Verify that a release of information form has been completed before you enter any information on that case. And that's very easy to do. If there's not a warning bar at the top of the page that says that they're lacking a release of information form, then you're safe to enter information. If you do see that warning, make sure you complete the release of information form. And when you do, you want to keep that on site at your agency for 3 years. Okay, let's talk about data share. Why is that important? Well, we've mentioned it a little bit, but let's go over these 3 points. First of all, it helps you and I to steward our resource more effectively, and that's a key feature of Charity Tracker. To know what a person has received and how they've been helped is going to empower you to be a better steward of the resource that you've been blessed with before you give it away. Secondly, it decreases the risk of fostering dependency. Now, you've probably heard about the 5 steps to dependency. And it's one of the reasons why people are shying away from a handout model on a repetitive basis. But the truth is, if we're not working together and sharing data in a community, a person or a family could just go from one organization to another in a city and become dependent on that community's benevolent activity without any individual organization really knowing that they're part of a system that's harming that person, oppressing them or trapping them, then it is empowering them. So it's important that we share data for that reason, because we really want to see the poor empowered and not held in a dependent cycle. And then lastly, there really is a gestalt factor here. What we were to collect at each one of our organizations is useful, but what happens when we're able to run community-wide reports and look at community-wide data, that's so much more than just the simple sum of what each one of us would get individually if we weren't sharing data. So it empowers us collectively, really for the future, to help us as a community know what is working or what's most effective in really resolving issues of poverty or addiction or the like in people that we care for. Another way to say these 3 points is this. This is why we share data. Savings is smart, ignorance is dangerous, and knowledge is power. Now, concerning what, I really want to light up 3 what not to shares. Okay, so these are what you shouldn't share. And these are coming right out of the Simon Solutions Charity Tracker Manual. So they're going to tell us, and we're just sharing it with you, you don't want to share tuberculosis or any other active medical diagnosis. You don't want to share sensitive physical or mental health information, and you don't want to share domestic abuse information. Now, some of that may change as Charity Tracker is currently jumping through some regulatory hoops to become HIPAA compliant. It is HIPAA, or that Health Insurance Patient Portability Act, that restricts us in being able to share some of this information. I know that some of our medical community would really be excited about Charity Tracker being HIPAA compliant. They are working toward that, and I'll keep you updated. Well, that's all I wanted to share today. If I didn't already leave my email with you, let me do that. It's james@wateredgardens.org. Watered has an ED on the end of it. Gardens has an S.org. And I just welcome an email. If there's anything that I or our Connections team, which is part of the True Charity Initiative, anything our Connections team could do to help you or your staff or your volunteers in using Charity Tracker or JoplinResources.net so that it's most effective for you, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. It's great working together with you in community. God bless you.